To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las
This here's
puertas.
a wild ride in the woods.
When invisibility doors change.
Hey everybody, I wanted to jump in here before we start this week's episode and let you know of a little trip we're going on. We're headed to Walt Disney's hometown, that's Marceline, Missouri. We're going to be heading down there April 29th, 30th, and May 1st. We're going to check out the Walt Disney Hometown Museum. We're going to check out the farm he used to live on, and we're going to check out some great historical sites all along that's inspired Disneyland. So join us on Facebook that weekend, and we will be going live. We'll also be creating some podcast content and some vlog content on our YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and also subscribe to our Facebook page so that you know when we're going live and you can join us that weekend for a great time in Marceline, Missouri. We can't wait to do it, and we can't wait to have you along with us.
So today on Miles from Main Street, we are talking about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, I thought this would be a great thing to do, would put together a guide to Galaxy's Edge. It's still kind of a new land for everybody, so for those of you that haven't been able to get there yet, I thought it'd be good to put something together so that you guys know what to do when you get there.
Yeah, this is Star Wars has always been something that's I've really been into. I grew up with Star Wars. I had a father who was really into Star Wars, so he kind of turned me on to all of that stuff. So it's always had a really special place in my heart, and being able to kind of walk into this land and walk into a story of Star Wars really means a lot, and it's very cool. And I definitely think that Disney went the extra mile with some of this stuff. But today we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to start out with the layout of the whole place. So Galaxy's Edge has two entrances to it. There's kind of like that front area entrance where you kind of go under. It's kind of like a little bridge. And you've got the reveal of the whole land and everything, and that's very cool. And you end up kind of walking through these paths, and you see an X-wing and a whole bunch of other spacecrafts, which are very cool. And then there's another entrance kind of towards the back where you've got Kylo Ren's TIE Fighter sitting there, and it's kind of like the more like the bad guy entrance. It's got more of that stuff. And that one is, I believe, you actually go through Toy Story Land to kind of get to that one. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, definitely two areas that you can attack at this park. It's a little different in Disneyland. There is this land in Disney World and Disneyland. Disneyland has the back entrance is a little different because they don't have Toy Story Land in there. You actually it's kind of like a smaller little entryway back into that back entrance of Galaxy's Edge. But both are pretty similar. The internal layout to Galaxy's Edge is almost identical from world to land.
Yeah, so the first entrance that you're talking about, that's coming out of Muppet's Courtyard, and I apologize, I do not know how it works at Disneyland. I believe the Critter Country entrance is off of the First Order side of the part of the land, but I don't know where this side is. So when you come in from Muppet's Courtyard, I guess for the best way of talking about it would be, if you're looking at a map, you're entering on the left side of the land. So you, like you said, you go through a tunnel, and John Williams' awesome score that he created for this is playing. And so you will come in, and it's very very wooded, leafy, green area. Like, I guess I don't know how. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like, kind of like you're on Endor, the moon of Endor, because it's very wooded there, and that's where you're gonna find Rise of the Resistance, the state-of-the-art ride that is incredible. I just remember it taking my breath away and being out of breath when we came off of that ride because of how awesome it is. As you pass that, you're gonna go past the souvenir market. Like, they have a bunch of little shops, and what's really cool about this area is that not only are you seeing this super themed market with separate little shops for different types of toys and souvenirs that you can get, but you're seeing how they're tying together the entire Star Wars universe. The timeline of Batuu, which is the name of the planet that Galaxy's Edge is on, the timeline is between Episode 8 and Episode 9, which is why you get Kylo Ren in his mask walking around with the stormtroopers. It's why you get Chewbacca and Rey trying to keep away from the First Order. And that's why you've got the Resistance and First Order running around. But they do an excellent job of tying in the prequels and tying in the original trilogy by having different types of droids, different types of nods, different types of ships, different types of Easter eggs, things that are going to remind you of those different time periods of Star Wars. So having these different things kind of brings every single type of fan into the fold. I was looking at a post the other day which had pictures of different lamps or lighting within the land, and it was interesting because one lamp looked like the head of R2-D2, or an R2 unit, I should say. Another lamp looked like an R3 unit. It was really, really neat to see things like that. And so, you go through this souvenir market, you're going to head into the main middle area. This is where the Millennium Falcon is. This is where the eateries are. This is where the Doc Ondar's souvenir shop. I can't think of I just know it's Doc Ondar's. I can't remember the rest of the name of it. But you're going to have that in the middle there. You're going to have Olga's Cantina right there. You're going to have it's like a speeder shop where Rey and Vi Marati and Chewbacca, you'll see them kind of hanging out there working on the machines, on the speeders every so often. And, it's kind of the central hub of the land. That's where most of the things are happening. When you get past that, that's when you're going to go to that TIE fighter that Mikhailo mentioned, Kylo's TIE Interceptor. So now you're heading out towards the other entrance, which is the one you had mentioned over by Toy Story Land. So that's kind of your layout. It's kind of a walk-through type of thing. There's no circle involved, but you definitely have a few points of interest that you need to hit as you go through. So yeah, when you get into that middle area, you're going to have Docking Bay 7 there, and that's where you would find your food. And Mikhailo, you said you've eaten over at Docking Bay 7?
Yeah, I've eaten at Docking Bay 7. There's also Ronto's Roasters. And Olga's Canteen kind of counts as food, but it's a little more drink based. It's more of,
I would not eat the food.
it's there's charcuterie and stuff in there, but it's more about drinking in there. But yeah, I've eaten at Docking Bay 7. I've also eaten at Ronto's Roasters, and both of them I would give very high marks to. Docking Bay 7 is real good. It's supposed to kind of be like a cafeteria. It's like a cafeteria like your typical quick service, but the inside is kind of I think it's meant to be more of like a smuggler's hideout type thing. Where like, I mean, it's a docking bay, so it's where all the ships are all docking, but it just kind of seems like stuff is like mashed together and stuff like that. There's certain, there are some real cool booths that you can sit in that like have like cool themes to them, and like they're all like enclosed and stuff like that. So there's some stuff in there that's pretty cool, but it's still kind of your typical like quick service cafeteria style for Disney. But
there was a really cool table that we went past on our way out that had like the table itself was a piece of a wing from an X-wing. I was like, how did I not see this? I should have sat here instead.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool tables that you can find there. The food itself is very good. The beef that I got there, we kind of, this is what we did. And this might be a hack to people, but I mean, you don't have to eat your food where you get it. And most of the time, what we did was we went over to Toy Story Land and ordered at Andy's lunchbox and Woody's lunchbox, Woody's lunchbox, and we ended up walking over to Docking Bay 7 and then ordering food and then sitting there, just using that indoor seating. So we had a little bit of Woody's lunchbox and a little bit of Docking Bay 7. But yeah, the beef that I had at Docking Bay 7 was really, really good. It was like smoked really well, and that's what I really liked about it. Brian, you'd probably love that. So, yeah, I really, really enjoyed the food there. Ronto's Roasters is another one, and actually, a Ronto wrap was the first thing I ate at Galaxy's Edge. That was the first food I ever had. And I loved it. I've actually recreated it a couple times for dinners that I've had. And it's very good. It's kind of like, it's got like a sausage in it, and it's also got pork inside, and it's got this really, really good sauce in there. And then it's all put together like inside of a pita. And so, yeah, it's really good. I very much enjoy them. They also have breakfast options too. And some people say that the breakfast Ronto wraps are better than the regular Ronto wraps. I would have to disagree, but the breakfast ones are also very, very good. And that
when we went to Ronto's Roasters, it was after we had already done our drinking at Olga's, and so we had a little bit of snack there, and we went over there to have breakfast, and I underestimated how hungry my kids were going to be, because I just ordered one breakfast and one like regular Ronto wrap, and the kids like demolished the breakfast one immediately, and I ended up ordering, I believe, 3 more breakfast ones because I mean, my kids are big breakfast eaters, so they just decided to go, and that was what they wanted. And I don't think they even ate much for lunch then either, because they were just eating those things. So yeah, we really, really liked them. They're really good.
Yeah, and they that is more of like a counter service restaurant. So really it's just kind of like you walk up, you make your order. I believe you can also mobile order. Yeah, you can definitely mobile order there. And so sometimes you can catch it where like there isn't a line, because it's so well themed that like I feel like most people will kind of walk right past it. It's also right at the end of all of the shopping that's there. There's kind of like this little mall that you walk through. It kind of looks like one of those like markets.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a good place. And I mean, I've caught at times where like I can just walk up, like there's no line, and I'll just walk up and place my order and get my food right away. The last thing that we haven't really talked about yet is the blue milk stand. I am a big fan of blue milk, both blue and green. I have done it before where I've mixed, and I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool. And I don't know, I enjoy both of them already. So like I've never really felt like I needed to improve the blue milk or the green milk. But Molly told me to, and we did it. So, but yeah, I really enjoy that. That's another spot that you can also mobile order. So it's if you want to mobile order your blue milk, you can definitely do that too. And I suggest that because most of the time that line does get pretty long.
Yeah, it does. And we did both of those as well. And the entire family agreed that the blue milk was much better than the green milk. So I'm not sure why. I'm guessing for myself, I mean, I didn't like the tartness, the Skittles taste of the green. But the blue one, I guess, it was a little more mild and something I would expect, I guess. So that's what I enjoyed. I'd never really thought about doing the mixing. Should have tried it, but oh well.
Next time.
There's another one that we didn't mention and not a lot of people are talking about, but Katsaka's popcorn cart. You can get a special mix that they only serve within Galaxy's Edge, and it's Katsaka's popcorn, and it's a multicolored thing, and I believe it's like a Fruit Loops type of flavor, but they put that spicy seasoning on it. And Molly loves this one. I know a lot of people do. I can tell you that Omega and Wrecker in the Bad Batch would go and get themselves some Katsaka's popcorn after they finished a mission. So I love the tie-in to the show as well. So they were not serving it when I was there. So it was still coming out of the pandemic and they hadn't opened that up yet, but it is back now. And you can even get a Mouse Droid popcorn bucket there if you want one. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't think I've ever ordered the popcorn there, but I've ordered soda there. But going along with that, they do have special soda bottles, especially for Galaxy's Edge. I know I've collected a lot of them. They're very cool. They actually look like thermal detonators. So yeah, anytime I go to Galaxy's Edge and I end up I think I always order a soda or two for that reason alone is, because they look so cool. But yeah, I think that's it for food, that I can think of.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I want to go back and get myself a Sprite Coke bottle now because I've only got the Coke one, but maybe I need to go to get a Sprite one. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've got for food. But when you're over at Ronto's or Docking Bay 7, you're in that main hub, as I said, and there's some really cool experiences that are there. And the first one is Droid Depot. This is where you can go and build your own droid. And I think it's really cool to be able to go and do something like that. I did this, and it's not as much of a personal experience as you would hope it would be, but it's still a lot of fun. And the droid that you get to take home is unique to how you built it. And it's fun to play with. Like driving it around your house or whatever is fun to do. They're supposed to be able to interact with each other. I have not been able to get that to work at all. I have not seen anybody else be able to do that very well, but you're not allowed to run them around within the park. But you can. I have seen some really cool bags that people have created so that they can so that the droids can see each other through them and maybe interact that way too. But it's really a neat thing. And now there is even a Facebook group where they go and they build their own droid, and then they take them home and they customize them themselves. They'll paint them up and make them look really cool. And I've seen some really neat ones. One that was even done like Sabine Wren. Like it was so detailed. It was really neat. So it's definitely something that has kind of grown its own life. And, after you've built your droid at the base price of $100, you can then go buy more accessories for it too. And even personalize it even more beyond what they sell you as part of the initial experience. I was caught off guard a little bit because the cast member right before I went to go pick out the parts was like, "Do you have a name for your droid?" And I'm like, "No, am I supposed to?" And like, yeah, you're going to want to have a name for your droid, so try to come up with something. I said something like Chuck was like the first thing that came to my mind, so that's naming my droid now, but something to keep in mind when you go to do that experience is have a name ready.
Yeah, I would think something like, well, I guess it depends on what kind of droid you get. If you have a BB droid, if you have an R2 droid, what was the red one, like R8 or something like that? I think if I did that, I'd want to stay true to like the naming convention. Like if I think I'd want an R2 style unit, but then kind of like make it look all fun and cool. So yeah, I think that would be cool. I feel like I would kind of put that towards, like I'd put that up against like getting a wand at Harry Potter Land, just because like, and like you said, getting a wand at Harry Potter Land, I've always done it. I think I've only done this once where I've actually gone through the actual ceremony of getting a wand. But even then, like I didn't get chosen. So, it didn't feel, as personal to like me. So that makes sense too, that like, I mean, this droid, like building this droid, it didn't feel too personal. But I mean, I'd still kind of like have like a personal connection to my droid the same way that I have a personal connection to the wands that I have. Just because of my love for Star Wars too. But another thing you can do there, which I've never done, and I really don't know a whole lot about, is make a lightsaber.
Yeah, over at Savi's workshop, it's pretty awesome. I have not had the chance to do it either, but to build your own lightsaber is really cool. I've seen lots of videos. I get to a point with Disney a lot of times where people are like, don't spoil it. You gotta just wait until you do it, right?
Yeah,
but I get to a point where it's
me.
like, yeah. For myself, I get to a point where it's like, it's gonna be too long before I get to go do that. I'll forget some of this, so I'm just gonna go watch it. So we tried to get a reservation the last time we were there. They were super hard in 2021 when we were there to get a reservation for it, so I wasn't able to do it, which is why I ended up with a droid instead. So hopefully next time I'll be able to do this. But there is a half an hour experience that goes along with building your own lightsaber, and I have not watched the full video, but from all accounts there is quite the epic moment when you first turn on that lightsaber. So it's definitely worth the experience and worth taking home. These aren't flimsy little telescoping plastic lightsabers like you get at any store, right? This is a very high-tech, high-quality souvenir that you're taking home. They say they are battle ready. For that price, I'm not going to do that. I'll go get an Ultra Saber, I guess, and do it with that instead. But they do these. They are awesome. It's funny because you've got the First Order running around at that area. So when you go and talk to some of the cast members there, being in story, they're like, we don't know what you're talking about, but we are selling some scrap metal. And they'll open these drawers up and you'll see the pieces of the lightsaber that you'll be making, and you get to choose from 4 different themes, which one you want to make. So I think that's cool how they've got that story built into it and the theming around it. So I highly recommend it to everybody, even though I haven't done it. I have heard nothing but great things about it. I am helping a friend of mine get a trip together for June, and I told him, so just want to make sure they're $220 each, and he's like, yeah, we don't care, we're all getting one. And so I'm like, okay, just as long as you know and you're on board, that's awesome. I wish I was your kid. So so yeah, Savi's has the expensive ones that you put together. And then Doc Ondar's is right next to there. And that is a souvenir shop that has a lot of cool knickknacks, I guess. They have a lot of costume items. They have a lot of... The weird thing to me is they have these busts, like, of the Emperor or old Luke Skywalker, like... I could see maybe one of Doc Ondar himself being something cool to take home because he's got that awesome head. But, it's like, I don't know. Do I need a grumpy Luke? So it's just like there are some really neat artifacts. I'm going to call them artifacts there that you could put up in your house. But they also sell legacy lightsabers. And these are lightsabers that look exactly like your favorite Jedi, his lightsaber, or Sith Lord. You can get Darth Maul. You can get Ahsoka Tano. You can get Luke Skywalker, and for sure with Obi-Wan Kenobi coming, they have had it, and I'm sure they'll have more of them because who doesn't want an Obi-Wan Kenobi now lightsaber? So. Definitely check that out. They are a little cheaper. And the neat thing there is that you don't have to buy the blade. You can just buy the hilt and take that home. So if you already have a blade, you can switch them out. And if you're a Star Wars fan, you know what a kyber crystal is. That's what powers the lightsaber, right? You can buy the different color of kyber crystal, and that's what color your lightsaber ends up being. So if you get a Mace Windu lightsaber, you buy the purple one, and you put that blade on there and it's purple. Well, then you go and get Luke Skywalker's, you get the green crystal, and now you've got the same saber or same blade to put on there. You've got a green blade. So it's really cool how they've made this interchangeable. You don't have to spend each time to get a blade, right? You can, and finally, the last thing I'll say is they've got a long blade and a short blade. I don't know why. I'm guessing it's because like Ahsoka Tano's one is longer than the other because she has two. So just something that you can do. I've held those. They are super, like, you feel quality in your hand. You feel like you need to take one home. I didn't have it in the budget to buy one of those, so I skipped it, but hopefully next time it'll be coming home with me. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, I like that place because it's got a lot of like the older things from the older series. I remember I was walking around there and they had Princess Leia's white dress, and I turned to Kristen and I was like, "Hey," because I'm sure she'd look really great in it. But they also have like Jedi robes. I think they have you can buy like pretty much like full costumes there, and it's all like prequels and the original trilogies. And so, yeah, some really fun stuff. I think that is I haven't been in where they make the lightsabers, but I think Doc Ondar's, that's my favorite place for souvenirs.
Yeah, mine too. And I'll throw there's a lot of really cool Easter eggs in there, especially up above. You'll see like this loft up near the top, and they've got all kinds of really cool Easter eggs, I guess is the best way to put it. But like they've got the Mandalorian's helmet, they've got a gold bust of Jar Jar Binks up there. Like, like they've got all these crazy
Because
things.
who doesn't want a golden bust of Jar Jar Binks?
Hey, I'd take it. Yeah, so definitely worth looking. There's a Wampa up there, which is definitely something that I enjoy because that's original trilogy stuff. So, the other thing that I think is really cool is, and they only have this in Florida, when you walk in the entrance, there's 4 panels in that doorway, and it kind of tells the story of Star Wars. They only have it there. They don't have it in California. So something cool to look for there too.
Well, that's fun. So yeah, we've talked about shopping. The last thing we're going to talk about are the 2 attractions in this land, and they are heavy hitters. Apparently that's my favorite terminology for really, really fun rides. We've got...
they probably should just change the name of Hollywood Studios to Heavy Hitter Studios.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
That's all it is there anymore.
The hitters are definitely pretty heavy there. But we've got Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which is pretty awesome.
You're flying the Falcon, you're smuggling, oh gosh, what's it called? That power source that they go after in the Solo movie.
Yeah. I was just watching a video of this too.
I know.
Coaxium.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're smuggling that. Chewie's letting you borrow the Falcon while you smuggle for Hondo Ohnaka. So I'll tell you that my son is a terrible pilot, and we argued and screamed at each other the whole time because honestly, I wasn't the greatest pilot either. So we had a wonderful time. My wife was in the back being an engineer and cracking up the entire time we're doing it. So definitely something that you need to check out. And Rise of the Resistance, we already touched on that already, but Mikhailo, I'm sure you've got an experience there.
Oh, yeah. I also just wanted to mention on Smuggler's Run, there's a certain configuration that if you do when you first sit down, you can actually achieve Chewie mode, which is, it's not helpful, but it's fun because Chewie will be guiding you instead of Doc Ondar. And so
Hondo Ohnaka.
Yeah. And so basically it's just Chewie yelling at you the entire time. So that's always fun. I thought I got it once because I told everybody that was there that all the things that they had to do, but it ended up not working. So, but yeah, Rise of the Resistance, probably the best ride that Disney has ever come up with. It's just insane. Just some of the things that they do in that ride, and just kind of the scope of like what that ride puts you through. It's just insane. Like the thing and the fact that basically what happens is like you've got this queue, and of course the queue is going to be long because people are going to be lining up forever to ride that ride. But the queue itself is interactive because when you're kind of being transported to these areas, like you're already in the story. Like you're transporting with the rebellion, and then the First Order finds you, and you end up on a First Order ship and everything, and like you're in the story already. But you haven't even gotten on the ride yet. Like you haven't even gotten on like a ride vehicle. But you're already part of a story, and the ride is already happening. So I thought that was really cool. I thought that they did a really good job of incorporating all kinds of things into this ride. It's a puck-based ride, so you've got this ride vehicle that is kind of like moving you around in all of these different areas, and so it feels free-floating. You've got these droids that are kind of like moving you around from spot to spot. My favorite area. And I don't know why. I don't know why this is my favorite area. But I just think it's so cool, and I think it's something that I've always wanted to experience. But when you're going through and you see these huge cannons that are like firing, and they will like fire out to space, and you can actually like look out to space and like see like
so cool.
a dogfight happening out in space. I just thought that was that just blew my mind. But then there's just so many other cool effects that they do. They've got Kylo Ren in there yelling at you and using the Force, trying to get into your elevator when you're in there. But yeah, just a lot of really cool effects, and just they went all out on this ride, and it definitely shows.
And for sure, for your Hollywood Studios Day, I mean, this is your must-do of all must-dos. It's what you have to plan for, and it can be a difficult item to plan for because that's everybody's plan, is to go on that ride. So just know that you're going to have to work at it maybe a little bit, but the payoff is worth it. Whatever you need to do to get on that ride is going to be worth it. So definitely check that out. There are a couple other spots within the park that is worth checking out for Star Wars. The Star Tours, the original Star Wars ride, is just on the other side of the Muppets Courtyard. If you're at Disneyland, they have it in Tomorrowland. And that is an excellent ride as well. I've always liked that. That's a 3D simulator. And there is... I believe 53 different scenes that you could get, which gives you hundreds of different possibilities for the ride to be. So that one is really cool. I love going over to that one at Hollywood Studios because it has the Ewok set up and an AT-AT out there, and the other side is just blank. It's because it's part of a studio. I think that's pretty cool. And then I could not get good information on this, but prior to Galaxy's Edge opening, there was Star Wars Launch Bay. That's where you could meet Kylo Ren, and previously it was Darth Vader until Kylo Ren came along. And you could also meet Chewbacca in there, and they had a lot of things on display, and they had Jawas walking around. I believe it's still open, but all it is basically a museum. You'll get to see a few things, maybe a lightsaber, maybe a mask, maybe a helmet, something like that. A few things. So there's not a lot over there. There's some bathrooms, I believe, that nobody uses. So that's a good spot to go to if you want to be left alone. There's a couple other things that you can check out that's not in the land. There's also a shop on not Sunset Boulevard when you walk in, right? That first road when you come in through the gate.
Yeah, that's Sunset Boulevard.
Okay. At the end of Sunset Boulevard on the left, there's a lot of Star Wars merchandise in that gift shop there. So you can get some of the stuff that they have in Galaxy's Edge if you didn't want to go all the way back there. Yep. Just a couple things to mention. And then my last mention is, what do you do with all this stuff? You bought a lightsaber, you spent all that money on it. What are you going to do with it? Well, you take it to your car, you take it back to your hotel room. If they eventually get the service offered back to us, you have it sent back to your room. They used to do that where you could ship merchandise when you buy it back to your hotel room, and you would get it in the gift shop. You could have it sent to the front of the park. They're not doing any of that right now. I am hearing that you can leave it at Droid Depot. If you buy a droid, that you can leave it there until the end of the day. So there are a few options. There is a locker system at the front of Hollywood Studios, but it doesn't sound like they're big enough to store these items. So most people are going on the rides with them. So, I think that's one of the nice things about Disney too, is that you can get a backpack, you can get this stuff to fit on the ride with you while you're going, so you don't have to leave it somewhere. Leaving something at Droid Depot till the end of the day is kind of a daunting thing at times, because if you've put on your 10 miles going around that park, the last thing you want to do is pick something up at the back of the park and have to walk all the way up to the front to get out of there. So, it's just, with the services being limited right now, it's a little bit more difficult to find what to do with your merchandise. But there are a few options for the lightsabers or for the droids.
Yeah, and I haven't bought. I buy little trinkets here and there, so I've never really had a huge issue. But I could see buying a whole lightsaber and having to walk around. I know you can pay for a bag, or you can also pay to get one of those big plastic sticks to put it in, just so that it's nice and protected as you're walking around. I see people constantly with those big plastic sticks that have their lightsaber inside of them. And you basically just kind of throw it over your body and walk around Galaxy's Edge with it. Which, if you want to go full Star Wars mode, I feel like wouldn't be a huge issue. But if you're trying to go to, like Rock and Roller Coaster or Tower of Terror with this big, huge lightsaber, that might be a little bit of an issue.
Yeah. But when you've got... when you build your own, they give you that case for it. Mm-hmm. So at least there's that.
Yeah, well, I think we've gone through most of everything you need to know about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Definitely come on out to our Facebook page and let us know what your thoughts are. We want to hear all your questions, and we want to help you out. We'll talk about it there. Go check out the new website, milesfrommainstreet.com. That's milesfrommainsT.com. And we have all of our episodes there. We're putting out news articles and just basic blog entries out there. So go check that out. You can get biographies on your favorite host here, and check out our affiliate links. So if you want to help us out, definitely go check out those affiliate links. You can go order some great theme park inspired items and also help us out at the same time. So as I like to tell you, though, the biggest way you can help us out is go out to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or even Facebook. Leave us a rating and review on those services. It'll help other people find us, help us get a little bit bigger, and it would be much appreciated if we could get that help from you guys. So we appreciate you listening.
Yeah, but you know what we say? Some live close,
but others don't.
So let's talk about it. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.